Hey guys, Noire here from Tempo Storm. Elana Havencraft was recently adjusted, with its quintessential follower Elana changing from a 2-drop to a 4-drop. However, despite this change, the deck continues to be highly formidable and one of the strongest decks in the Rebirth of Glory meta. Despite often being perceived as a very straightforward deck to play, Elana does have several points in most games where a great player can truly stand out. Finding the best use for all the resources available to you is vital in order to be a better Haven abuser than the average ladder monkey. This list was used by PG Zero Fine, who recently used it to win Panda Cup 11. You can find the full tournament VOD in the link below. Zero Fine's list contains all the standard healing and Machina cards that you would expect. The deck often wins by going wide and creating insanely powerful boards with Elana, but it is also capable of playing a slower game and grinding out the opponent with Kel and Zoe. As a 4-drop, Elana can no longer be combined with 2-drops on turn 4 or 5, but she is now capable of trading over larger followers when buffed, such as Tetra. Angelic Smite is a very flexible hard removal that is typically used against amulets such as Elana's Prayer in the Mirror or Destruction in Black against Lashana Portal. Because Elana relies so heavily on specific cards such as Elana and Kel, in most matchups, you will benefit more by drawing a card from Angelic Smite than your opponent does. Lamonia Flawed Saint is useful for trading while conserving an evil point in the mid and late game. In addition, Salvation X Lamonia allows you to combine more followers with your healing, while threatening your opponent with Heavenly Aegis, putting even more pressure on them to end the game as quickly as possible. Holy Lord Ektar continues to be an immensely strong card when fighting for board, as he is a single card that allows you to go wide. In combination with Lamonia's generated spells, Ektar can more easily be combined with repair modes or another follower, making him even more effective. Lastly, Mecha Wing Angel allows you to easily go wide while providing more Machina synergy for Lamonia. Two cards not included in the deck are Unicorn Knight and Blackened Scripture. Although Unicorn Knight can provide healing and removal with Unicorn Spear, at 3 PP it can often be too clunky to use. Even in matchups where 4 damage removal can be particularly useful, such as against Machina Swordcraft, Unicorn Knight can sometimes feel a bit slow. However, she is certainly a good card and it largely comes down to player preference. As for Blackened Scripture, the card lost a lot of its versatility with Elana being changed to 4 PP. It can no longer be played alongside Elana on turn 4 or 5, and later in the game its impact is much lower, with Angelic Smite being very effective in some of our more troubling matchups, namely the Elana Mirror and Lashana Portal. There isn't enough space in the deck for more removal spells. As one of the best decks in the current meta, Elana Haven has some very robust strengths. Kel is one of the most powerful board clear tools in the meta. Constant healing with the ability to play Bane, Rush, and Ward followers enables greedier and more impactful evil point usage. You have a potentially oppressive attrition game with Zoe and Delaphi. Your opponent must always respect your board. Mech Package with Robowing Precant and Robofalcon can be extremely potent when fighting for board in the early game. On the flip side, Elana is also known for having several distinct weaknesses. Nearly incapable of winning when there is no Elana in sight. Possible to run out of cards and evil points quickly if the opponent has too much pressure for us to play greedy. Very dependent on Elana, Kel, and Zoe, each for a different reason. The deck may struggle against strong opponents when lacking 2 or more of these pieces. Threat is entirely board-based, and we cannot deal damage straight from the hand, meaning we are weak to decks with access to very powerful board clear, such as Destruction Portalcraft. As for mulligans, this deck is pretty simple. Always keep Elana Purest Prayer regardless of first or second or which matchup you play, as this deck is generally not functional without Lana. Always keep Golden Bell, this is your only turn 1 play in the deck, and it's a very strong one. Card draw is absolutely vital to find Elana ASAP. Zoe and other followers that provide healing can be kept going first or second only if you already have Elana. Panda Rabbit Healer can be part of a full keep that includes Elana and a fully statted 2 or 3 drop. Lashana Portal. Lashana is one of the most difficult matchups for Elana Haven, but it is definitely winnable. Keep track of how many puppets your opponent has in hand to see if it's possible for them to play Destruction in White and Destructive Refrain on the same turn. You can do this easily by checking how many puppets they have played versus the puppet generating effects they have used. After Destruction in White is played, try to make the minimum commitment to the board that forces a Destructive Refrain. Heavenly Aegis can be very powerful in this matchup, so try to develop Lamonia on 6 when possible. Remember that you can defeat Portal with 2 hits from Aegis due to your buffs, but Destruction in Black will take 3 turns to kill you. This matchup often reaches a point where Lashina can no longer remove your board and has to ward up instead. Save a card to deal with that, such as Ektar or Kel Evo. Vengeance Blood. Blood was definitely hit much harder than Haven was with the recent nerfs. In place of Seductress Vampire, many lists are now playing Lycos Berserker as another method to activate Vengeance. Just like before, going wide against Vengeance Blood is generally pretty effective, especially if they need to spend time developing Lycos Berserker and Blood Moon. Once you reach turn 7 and beyond, try to moderate your use of healing to make boards that cannot be cleared by Destructive Succubus, but without overextending into Calamity Bringer. Put just enough pressure on the board to make sure they cannot ignore it. Elana Mirror. In the Mirror, winning on board is now even more important than before due to Elana's higher cost, making it harder to create a strong board state on the same turn. One way to win the Mirror, if you have Angelic Smite in hand, is to prioritize dominating the board with cards like Robo Falcon and Robo Wing Prekin, even on your first Evo turn, instead of immediately playing Elana. Keep in mind that your opponent cannot play both Blackened Scripture and Elana on their first Evo turn. When your opponent has a weak Elana turn that you can easily deal with because of how strong your board state was, you can get away with banishing their Elana's Prayer with Angelic Smite before playing your own Elana next turn with immediate buffs. Even if your opponent responds with Kel, he will not be getting buffed, so you can easily follow up with cards like Delphi or Lamonia. In general, play a slower, resource-centric game going second, and an aggressive, tempo-centric game going first. When going first, cards like Robo Falcon and Robo Wing Prekin can dominate the board alongside proactive usage of your second Evo point to create board states that cannot be dealt with. When going second, abuse the power of Zoe and Kel to outgrind your opponent. Look for opportunities to play Delphi Pass. When you can get away with this play, your follow-up with your conserved Evo point can generally be much stronger with Zoe, Kel, or even a second Elana. Manage your repair modes very carefully. Consider making wide boards while conserving some of your healing. Your opponent must respect your board, but they may struggle to efficiently clear many followers at once. If you don't draw Elana for a long time, conserve your last Evo and some healing for as long as possible if you're able to stall with Kel and Ektar. Double Elana can be especially strong against decks that are reliant on damage-based removal, such as Rune or any Machina deck. Abuse Delphi and greed for double Elana when your opponent is unlikely to punish you. That wraps up my guide for Elana Haven. Even though it was supposedly nerfed, this deck should remain highly relevant throughout Rebirth of Glory and possibly in the next expansion as well. I hope to see interesting new ways to enable healing for this deck in the future. Thanks for watching, and I will see you again next time. Follow me on Twitter at NoireSV.